Welcome to another live stream today here at Lightingbot, and obviously we will be going through a new topic today. And as you can see, we have Jeremy and Chris in the opening today because obviously they are co-hosts now, so they might as well join in the opening. I was almost late today, stuck in traffic, stuck in the tube. I had to run and dodge like Matrix and Ninja. I don't know, just trying to get there. Literally was here like 3 minutes before the stream. So we are ready to start basically. So if you're watching, please remember, like, subscribe, leave a share, comment, whatever, just to help us get some more viewers as we are doing our live stream. So we're going to talk about networking today, not the kind about IT and cables, but the kind where we are communicating and building a relationship basically. Now, networking can come in many shapes and forms. You know, there's online networking, could be the use of Twitter, could be LinkedIn, could be maybe physical networking, such as the upcoming Digicon event later this year, which probably Jeremy can talk about as well later on. So there's different variants of networking. So some people are comfortable with online, some people are comfortable with offline, or both. So that's basically what we are addressing a little bit today. And whatever else happens after that is because we didn't plan for it. So
amazing.
Exactly. So who wants to do the next opening about networking? So what is actually networking? Did I miss anything, or did we cover most of the general concept of what we think about when we say networking?
I feel like I was holding my breath that whole time.
Pretty much summed it up.
Yeah, you summed it up pretty well. It's like, I think I'll just jump right into it. So like networking currently, I think a lot of us are pushing Discord pretty heavily these days. And that's more of the direct social networking, right? Forums are still an active thing as well. Things like Reddit and Polycount, of course. But then you have Discord, you've got ArtStation, LinkedIn, any type of platform that's building some form of a community is kind of pushing networking.
Okay. I mean, I have to admit, I've never used Reddit, even though I probably should post this.
Interesting.
This YouTube stuff and all of these things. A lot of people have been telling me, oh, you can post your tutorials, your YouTube videos, your streams in Reddit. And I feel Reddit is a bit toxic. So like, if you're not careful, people will just, attack you and then downvote you and everything. So I'm like, I don't know. It's like a Wild West. I remember I did it like a little bit like 15 years ago or something. And I was trying to promote my company at the time. And that's it. Like, I have zero experience in using Reddit. I just know a lot of people show me links like, oh, look, this happened on Reddit and that happened on Reddit, but I haven't involved myself any more than that. So what's your experience? Do you use Reddit? Pros, cons?
I've been a moderator in Reddit.
Yeah.
For a community as well. But of course I have.
The DiNusty community on Reddit.
No, it's for Elite Dangerous.
Oh yeah, okay, I can imagine.
Yeah. I was getting pretty deep in there. And then I was like,
I'm using Reddit quite a lot though, but it's more stalking everybody else. I don't really post myself. I mean, I have an anonymous username, which I used to do helpful game dev stuff. I write like helpful stuff, but I do it like
trolling. Basically, trolling is what you really mean.
Trolling people. Yeah. I take everybody down the wrong path so I can succeed myself.
Yeah.
No, I try to be very helpful, but like it gets. I have this account and I'm only trying to be helpful on it, right? And it stops me from like, being mean or trolling stuff, which is. See, I mean, generally I like Reddit.
Does that mean you have a second account, which is for the opposite? Like you have the
mean account? No.
Cop and bad cop.
What's your karma, Chris? What's your karma?
How do I even check that?
So on.
Yeah, this is the problem. I'm not like very much like an advanced user or whatever.
obviously he doesn't have that much, because if he had, he would have known how much karma he had. He would be like, I have 1 million.
I don't know.
No, I don't know. I mean, that only really matters if you care about that stuff, right? I don't really.
True, it's the same with
What does it even give
with
you?
likes
Like,
on
I
our
don't even.
station, right?
Yeah, what does it even give you?
I
How do
guess
you
it's the
see the
sense
karma?
of, I guess it's the sense of take this person seriously or not, isn't it? It's like this
guess
person,
so.
this person.
Oh, 194 karma.
Is that a lot,
Nice
Jeremy?
job.
But
I have no idea.
I only post really in GameDev, right? Or like in Unreal Engine stuff, and try to be helpful.
I mean, we were really active in the Division Reddit, but
yeah, but that was on some other account though. Like, did you have
account.
Yeah.
Yeah. My account's 12 years old.
Wow.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's my karma's at 4,200.
But do you feel like you've done some decent networking using Reddit then?
So honestly, no. I don't know why we're talking about Reddit right now. It's one of those areas that like I feel like you go there and you're looking at stuff just like you would with any of the other places that like Discord and ArtStation. But
like, it's not the place to create like meaningful connections to people.
No,
probably
not like LinkedIn, for example. Like when we decided we were going to talk about this topic of networking, I was immediately like, okay, so it's a topic about LinkedIn. Then is that what we're talking about? Or
I mean,
you guys have other alternatives to LinkedIn?
It depends on your definition for what is considered networking. I have one karma for the, and I have a message that is 3 years old. Someone tried messaging for some reason on Reddit, and I've never gotten back to that. That's the only thing I apparently have on Reddit. Someone trying to reach me, and one karma. So I probably should do something with that.
But apparently there's like different types of karma, right? So like, there's post karma you get from posting stuff.
Oh.
And then there's comment karma, like karma you get from comments. I don't know what karma what it does or means or anything. But yeah, I have a lot of post karma because I just post comments on people's stuff.
Okay. So, but have you connected with people in this way though?
No, I haven't. They've been very thankful of me helping out. But I'm trying to keep it like under wraps, who I am, so I can just be helpful and not like
that. Yeah.
Because I've been trying to be helpful on like the Unreal Engine forums, but there's some really toxic people there. One guy in particular. So I just don't feel like using my real name in some areas because of the how toxic
it's that's kind of interesting you say. So let's separate it down. Let's make it a bit clearer. So there is, when you help people, in my definition, you're marketing.
Yep.
Right.
I would agree with that.
Right.
Yeah,
there's some long term, even if you're not aware of it yourself, your marketing, your skills, your brand, yourself, whatever. When you're doing helpful things, you're going to Reddit, you're being active there. To me, that's a different topic for we can have in the future, which is like, how do you market yourself or branding? But networking is kind of interconnecting. Is you kind of doing that too, but you're mostly trying to, with intention, trying to connect with someone on an interpersonal level rather than on a mechanical or practical level. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah.
Yep. That makes sense.
Definitely.
Do we agree with this separation?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so that's why I don't use Reddit for networking, because I think that's a good way of building a brand. So if I wanted to say build lighting but brand, maybe I should make an account, be active, and kind of post videos on a regular basis. I know a couple of individuals. If you look some certain lighting artists, they post a lot on Reddit and they pop up everywhere else because someone else picks it up on Reddit. And I have an awareness of that. But let's talk about Discord. I think that's something everyone can relate to as a starting point in terms of networking, because Slack and Discord. I do use Slack as well. There are channels still being used on Slack as well. So how do you network on Discord? And is it networking or is it just hanging out? When do you actually, is there a difference between just hanging out and chilling, or I don't know.
Yeah, that's so if we take those two camps that you were talking about, where you've got like one is marketing and one is networking. I think in Discord you're largely marketing, because you're, at least in the Empire, for example, you'll post your work that you just finished, and people see that and they react. Now the way to get more reactions or more traction is to become active, right? So people learn that you're working on a scene and they follow the progress of that scene and then actually see it complete, and they're more invested because they get to know you. That aspect, I think, is a little bit more of networking, because now you're talking back and forth and there's investment from both sides on whatever is happening between the two or three or more.
Okay. Chris?
What was the question?
It's one of those days.
Like, I mean, yes, I don't know. Yes, it's networking. Even if you're just hanging out on the Discord, right? If it's an art Discord, it's still networking, in my opinion. And you should be very careful as well, I would say, because like if we look at like the DiNusty Empire, for example, right, there are so many professionals in there. That like if you're behaving badly and we know who you are, or you have your name on there, like you're doing bad things for your brand or whatever, for you as a person. So you kind of have to be careful.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you are a brand, right?
And it's very obvious.
Kind of turned into that.
Yeah, it's like it's very obvious when people are being helpful and writing and communicating, right? Those people are always popping up, in the whatever, like the channels, right, in the threads and whatever. It's very easy for us to think about, like, do I know someone that seems, engaged and active and wants to help and looking for a job, right? It's very easy for me to go on to the DiNusty Empire, for example, and go like, oh, cool, this person seems cool, so I'm going to send him a DM and see, what's up. That's a good way to do it. Like, I think still
you start to resonate with the person themselves instead of like.
I mean, it does take an effort. It does take effort to spend time communicating, giving feedback, being active, right?
I think it's interesting because Discord, for many people, I would say it's a two-sided sword, right? You have the constant fear of maybe being interpreted as something wrong, like rude, or you might be like excluded because you type too much, you're too active. Raggedy kind of indirectly mentioned with a comment is easy to brand as toxic, and it's hard to lose, and building upon that, it's a lot of people don't use Discord efficiently either, in my opinion. And I look at that from watching my own Discords that I have more than one, and a lot of people, they just post a portfolio and that's it. They never acted, they never participate. They just go into the server, and the only time you see their nick pop up is they're posting the portfolio. So let's talk a little bit that. Is that considered good networking, or is that some advice on how to use Discord more comfortably than just promoting yourself?
I mean, that's kind of like, that's like posting a tweet on a brand new account that no one knows about, and then like not adding
expecting
any hashtags
something.
And then you're just expecting some type of reaction. It's like in a chat, when chat's just scrolling, if you're not active in that chat, it's gone, and it's very difficult for people to keep up with that stuff. I know a lot of people have a hard time in the Empire as well, because it's just, they feel like they need to catch up, when in my view, it's more about being in the moment that you're in at that moment, and not trying to like catch up on everything.
It's the same with I don't know if any of you are still active, but I'm still around Facebook groups, and there is very common with your Facebook group, only thing you post is either your own videos, guilty, or you're just posting nothing specific, just the same as you would do in Discord. It's the similar behavior, so you're not really providing value to someone. So would you say a part of today's topic and advice could also be how do you provide value while you're doing networking, right? Because when I normally talk to people, it's not just helping. I will reach out to people to say, hey, do you want to do a webcam meeting and hang out just to get to know each other? I think there was a recent incident that happened on several Discord, and Jeremy knows about that. And I was reaching out to the admins of the Discords, and I used that opportunity to say, hey, let's to just get to know each other a little bit. Let's hang out and everything. For me, that's networking. You're not really having any plan. There's no agenda. You just breaking that fourth wall, that barrier, because you have a reason to have the conversation, and you're doing the conversation because it feels natural. So when does it feel natural? When is the right time to kind of reach out and be awkward in that sense and saying, hey, let's have a conversation?
Is there a right? I don't know if there is a right time.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like,
I don't do what you do, really. Never.
No. So for example, the people that are guest mentors in Lightning, but like half of them, I just reach them out on Discord. Hey, I like your work. Let's have a talk. Let's get to know each other. Or someone else told me you should become friend with this person because I think you'll get along with that person. I will say, hey, we have a common friend. Want to talk? And I just talked online, and then I met them in person afterwards. So I'm quite active when it comes to literally just networking, not just posting stuff or promoting myself, but the actual art of having a conversation and building friendship without really in the old days, I don't know if you guys ever did that before, but you had like a business card. You go to a business network and you just give people business cards, and that's all.
and
that's
I
all
don't
we
even
do.
I don't know how many of my business cards I printed. Chris is like, hell no, man.
No,
It's
I've never
wasting
done
paper
that.
and
No.
ink and money.
Yeah.
Did you want to say something, Chris?
No, I don't have anything on this subject, really. I don't do that type of network. I've never really done that type of networking, where I reach out to people. Like it's always been, yeah. Like when do I reach out to people? I usually reach out to people to tell them how much I like their work, or to send some positive vibes out there.
So if people haven't heard from you, that means that you don't like their work. Is that how to interpret?
Yes, that's how you're allowed to, no, it's like okay, so I'm I like a lot of game development, so like I tend to spend time on Twitter, like, and then I find people who are hardworking and stuff, and I send them comments, right? Like I'm like, okay, keep going, you're doing so well, this is looking awesome. But I never really try and go beyond that for some reason, myself, because I don't know, I guess I personally, I don't know why. I don't really feel like I need it, like for me, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about how we have all met now, so
Yeah,
how I got to Sweden was someone reached out to me, right, and was like, "Hey, you should work here," and I'm like, "Where is that?"
wait,
I don't
who
know.
reached out to you?
It was Ryan Hawken.
Oh, Ryan.
Yeah,
I see. Okay, yeah.
and it's
Okay.
interesting. So this is like network chain craziness. Ryan messaged me on Polycount because he wanted to figure out how to hard surface model, and he thought for some reason I knew how. So we just start talking through the messages of like the DM of Polycount.
Yeah.
And then he slowly, gets his way into the industry, and then I don't hear from him for a long time. And then randomly he reaches out to me and asks me if I want to come and work with him in Sweden. And then when I applied and then had the interview, it was super weird that everyone there, like Chris, I knew you, I knew Matthew O'Halloran, I knew like Hamish Bode, like I knew all of you guys, even though I had never met you before. And
Yeah,
you
but
guys
you also stayed in, like, you couldn't get the visa, and it took like 6 months or more, or whatever. A year?
Yeah.
What did it take before you
It
were
took 6
allowed to go?
months to get the visa.
Yeah. But I mean, we were all around, looking at your portfolio, so like we knew who you were, kind of, because Ryan would be like, "I'm trying to recruit
Right.
this guy."
Like if you go on Polycount, we were talking forever before, and I had no idea. And then I get to Sweden, and now you messaged me. The first time I heard about LightingBot was through a portfolio review, and it was someone was like, "Oh yeah, LightingBot," and I believe that person is the one who connected you and I through conversations.
That I believe was if I remember correctly. I'm just checking my student Discord quickly. I believe that was almost there. Almost there.
But
it was Edwin, I think, who was watching a stream,
Yes.
and he posted something. I don't know what he posted, and then he told me afterwards he was posted. I said, "Oh, is that a safe thing? Why would you do that?" And I thanked him, and then I got comfortable. I don't know, but how did we actually meet though? I don't know who talked to who first and why.
I don't remember. But like, to me, I'm extremely open. My DMs are literally open,
Yeah, same.
and
See,
I
this-
reply
but-
to anyone.
But that's the thing; it happens so naturally because
Yes.
you are making time to interact, and which is the key
Yes.
areas. You're taking every individual person who do reach, you're taking them seriously. You're talking to them, and then what happens right? And I met Chris through you again because you were talking highly about him and saying, "Hey, Chris is awesome. He's going to be useful. Yes, he probably going to do it.
It's gonna be useful."
So whatever it was, so it's all about recommending people, and it's the same with the people that I guess mentors for me too. So it makes sense, I suppose. But I think you need to be conscious sometimes about doing it because you can't expect people to come to you either. You have to have the confidence to approach people as well. I mean, Mary is saying, I'm not an introvert. That's not true. I'm totally an introvert. I am a trained ambivert. That's the difference. I've trained myself to, in the moment, have this conversation.
Yeah, it's like it's like trained extrovert, but you're actually an introvert.
Yeah,
I see. Okay.
and I learned that because when I had my first company, I had to be on stage, I had to present, I had to pitch, and I had to you had responsibility, and you train yourself to do public speaking and all that stuff. And then I kind of learned, okay, I have the social skills and ability to do it within a frame context. I'm not really that good in a bar. You take me out on a bar, not that talkative, especially if it's loud noises. It's really hard for me to do talk and network and everything, but like running a stream like this on Discord, not a problem. That's fine. So you need to find your way of networking as well, I think, which is also important to discuss. Like, what is your comfortable level of approaching people and networking?
Yeah, I always congratulate people when they say, "Oh, I've been a long time lurker," and I'm just trying to like, dude, hell yes. You're like, you're pushing through those barriers. You're getting out there and actually presenting yourself in any form. You start interacting with people, they start responding. You can get some traction going with that, and I would say, is a large part of your portfolio. Like,
it is very
sometimes
important.
people don't see you unless you say something, even if you're blasting your portfolio.
No,
like
I never click.
Sorry?
I never click. If you just post in especially my Discord, you never do anything. I'm never clicking. You're just posting there. You're not doing anything. That's not really a way to get people's attention. I think you need to do what Jeremy said, at least in talking, being active, and
I cheer him on, man. It's really cool when I think it's really important to not call lurkers out, not in a negative way, but say hello to the lurkers.
Why are you not talking?
I learned this a while back when I was streaming. Like, oh yeah, if they're lurking, just let them be. If they say hello, then you say hello, because it's like a common courtesy of like people in the room.
Yeah, I get that. Some people don't really want to be.
That's very different. I would probably call them out. So you better like and subscribe or do something useful. That's what I would say.
I mean, I say that as well,
no,
but it's not to the.
But it's kind
general,
of
right?
like if you're entering a stream, like a stream of someone, right? And maybe that person has very few viewers or something, and then you enter and they notice, right? And they engage you, even though you don't feel like engaging back. Then it just feels awkward when they're talking to you. And then you almost feel forced to answer, right? So I get it, to that extent. Like if you don't really, because sometimes you just want to lurk, right? I guess.
Yeah, which is totally fine.
It's a very strong lurking culture, though, online these days. It's like lurking everywhere, and how about
That's why it has a term, right?
Well, it's also ninja watching. We call it on YouTube in theory. We call them ninja watchers.
Ninja. Scary.
Let's do a couple of questions to encourage more questions as well.
Yeah, there were some good ones in there.
Wesley's asking, as an aspiring junior lighting artist, is the best way to network in the community reaching out directly to seniors and leads? If I have questions, let's start with Chris, because let's start with you.
I would reach out to the people that seem willing to talk about it. Like there, you will see a couple of key figures, like in the communities or in just in general. You know, people that go out of their way to make or like to do lectures, a whole presentation, so upload YouTube videos. These people tend to be very okay to approach, like because they're doing that already. Type they want to like help. So I would find these people first, and usually it's fine approaching them. I would be like very humble when you do it as well, because it feels good to the person, like to be like, I don't want to, when you're like doing the thing where you're like, I'm sorry for, I don't want to waste your time, but I would love some of your feedback regarding this and this or that. What can I do in this or that situation, right? Well, I like that at least, because at least then it doesn't feel like they're expecting me to help them. Like sometimes I get messages that almost feel forceful, like, you know, like I should help them, you know. I generally don't mind, but it's yeah, I feel like yeah, I don't know. So I feel like making it a bit of a thing, I think that's a good thing. Very specific. Yeah.
No, it makes sense. I mean, yeah, makes sense. It matters how you ask, as with anything.
Exactly.
If you're very direct, and I wouldn't say rude, but if you're not asking correctly, I will link you my payment mentorship or something. And I'm happy to help you. If you ask correctly, I'll spend a few hours helping you, because you did it you show you have the approach, the skills to approach someone and value their time. Because it's not like we're sitting on Discord like waiting for messages to go, yeah, I'm ready and available, I'm here for helping you. And that's not really how it works, even though we run a community and we're all doing streams and everything. And we all love helping people. We can only help so and so many people, to be honest. We don't have the resource or the time to do unlimited amount. Jeremy, what's your take on it?
Yeah, it's interesting because there's an emphasis on seniors and leads, which, I mean, I'm a lead, and like I'm going to know less than someone who is actively, when it comes to the hard technical skills of let's say being a lighting artist, be an aspiring junior lighting artist. I would assume I'll just put it in the same bucket as like aspiring like junior expiring. Oh God,
it's already too late.
Like environment artist, for example, or level artist.
Yeah,
right. Someone aspiring to be in that role, just being in a place with other people that are wanting to go that same route, I think starts to get the network train moving. Like it's almost like having a class in the Empire. We have classes where it's literally like, I'm not saying there's classes, but a group of people all kind of show up around the same time, resonate as a group. Then they all get into the industry around the same time. And then they tend to like disappear because the games industry is a busy industry. But like when you're in a area like that, it's just bound to happen that a senior or a lead or someone with super high experience that you would have never expected response to give you feedback. And that in itself, it just kind of happens by nature of it. If you were to just cold message outwards, I would follow kind of what Chris is saying, being more of the polite and asking for feedback.
Yeah, I think it's important. Like, it's good for you to go to seniors or leads if you're wanting to learn something specific, or like if you're wanting to learn, right? If the point is to network, then you can network with anybody, or just engaging the community, because it's a good thing to do. But if you're wanting, the bad thing about learning from other juniors or aspiring people is that you might be learning the wrong things, right? So if you go onto YouTube or if you go into Reddit and they're like posting, this is how you do something, and they have no idea what they're talking about, then you're actually learning the wrong things. So if you actually want to, if the point is to learn something, then asking the people with the experience would be the better way. If you're networking, then I think you can basically network with anybody. But obviously, you can also approach the leads. And I wouldn't do it randomly on LinkedIn. I wouldn't go like, I want to work for Bethesda, right? And then I would just go LinkedIn, find everybody on the Bethesda employee list, and then just start sending them messages. That feels intrusive, like you're. That feels like almost a bit stalkery, right? You have to find the people that are already willing to be out there and talking.
I mean,
man, that's a thing too. That happens, Chris.
That happens, man.
And
it's not
dude,
cool.
It happens, and then it's enough people that they're in their circles at work, and then you're like, oh yeah, did that guy message you too? Oh, like,
yeah, it's
and then it becomes this.
Yeah, you should be very careful about this stuff, because
I'm definitely one of the guys that people are probably in the studio going, I'm a messenger too for a podcast interview. Yeah, me too. Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I mean, it happened like once you're in a studio, right? And there you maybe release a successful game, or maybe not so successful, right? There are a lot of randos sometimes just messaging and can say the bad stuff. And so a lot of people tend to be wary with randos contacting you like that. So like if you don't want to like accidentally like brand yourself as something bad, then just be very careful about doing that type of approach, I would say. Because LinkedIn is meant, it's meant to be a professional, like you don't approach people for stuff like that on there, I would say. But maybe that's just me. Maybe LinkedIn isn't all of that anymore. I feel like it used to be, maybe, but now it's just like a
that is a good question, which leads us to the next question, which is LinkedIn considered networking?
Oh wow,
is it
dude,
good to make it for your student? How to connect with people?
I mean, I think it's totally fine to make it as a student. Go ahead, Chris.
I mean, our experiences are different from students potentially, right? Because we just get so many recruiters just like, and it's kind of annoying. I don't really talk to other professionals over LinkedIn, so I don't really know. And I also feel like it's just a popularity contest.
Oh, interesting.
Knowing how many people are in your networking. I don't know how valuable it is though, but
yeah, they should kind of hide that at this point. The how many you have has nothing to do with anything.
What you mean? I have over 5,000. Of course, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, of course it matters. You're here, and I'm off the screen, bro. I'm on another level. I'm built different.
I'm built different. Oh my god, Chris, you gotta tone down that monster, bro.
Sponsored by Monster.
Oh god.
No, I mean LinkedIn is depends on the people you message, right? So, for example, in my case, I will use it to connect with lighting artists and then ask them to maybe come on the podcast. And my first message is not like, hi, how are you? I skip all of that. I'm like, hi, this is my intention. I'm not trying to be like a friend. This is why I message you. There's a reason I'm messaging you. Here's what I do. Here's the results. Are you interested? 90% of people will not even look at it. You have to keep messaging. I have messaged some people for over 2 years now. There's no reply whatsoever, and I will remember it forever. I would at least say no to it. So so I'm like, this guy. So you have to kind of know that. But the thing with LinkedIn is really bad as well, because you lose the messages so quickly on LinkedIn. Because I don't know about you, you have people connecting you for sales, and depending on your work history, they don't research you, so they add you and say, oh, are you interested in investment? I'm like, I don't really use LinkedIn as my main investment in things. So it's like half of this is spam. People get tired of it. So that's why I've started collecting emails. So I'm like, what's your email? So quickly get out of LinkedIn and catch up on emails, basically, because it's really hard to do it. But I think LinkedIn is great for engagement these days. It's great for leaving comments and kind of having discussions. But as with any other social media, be careful what you type. Unless you're ready for the consequences of what you type, be really careful about, saying something that someone might not like, or at least have the ability to keep that conversation going. Because once you do a comment and it's like controversial or something from something else, there is a down, the spiral goes down basically. So I think you have to be a bit careful. But most people use it for, hey, great artwork, great stuff. Again, same thing as we discussed earlier on Facebook group and Discord portfolio sharing channels. People just post stuff and they're constantly focused on, hey, over here, look at me. And that's what most people do wrong, I think. I think that's where I think a very few I've noticed are starting to pick up on it. You have to create value more than, hey, look at my work. You have to provide something that someone likes and helps them, and that's how you get noticed, rather than look at my artwork, look at my latest code or painting. If you want people to look at that, I guarantee you people will click it a month from now if you consistently provide value, advice, solving people problems.
I wonder, so the other part of the question was like, how do you connect with people? And do you just add them?
Yeah.
For me, it's like there has to be some type of an engagement in LinkedIn if I've never met them before for me to want to add them.
I don't do that. You know what I type when I add? Do you want to guess what I'm typing? Because you have to add something when you add someone, and you have the opportunity to add like a sentence or paragraph. I write, I'm shamelessly connecting with like-minded people. That's what I write.
But what I was going to suggest is like link up with the people that you're meeting in like art communities. Like if you meet someone from the Empire Experience Points or Lighting Bot, and you find a connection with this person, and you guys are like always working together on art and stuff like that, and you're in calls, like why wouldn't you connect with that person?
Definitely.
That's someone that you can connect with, and that goes outside of Discord, so then it doesn't stick in a bubble, right? That now you've expanded it at least a little bit more. And I think that's actually quite important, is to make sure that you're not in one place, so to say.
Yeah, I think that's a great advice, as in how to use LinkedIn for beginners. That's the first stage, is like you limit your adding and you're careful of who you're adding. I used to do that a lot in the beginning. But now I'm if I go to job interviews, no matter what happens, I will add the art director, the person who talks to me, and I will add them into my LinkedIn regardless of what happens. So that's like a strategy I use in kind of building a relationship for future. So they get to watch what I'm doing, what happens, if something happens, something goes on. And I think LinkedIn for me is very good to connect with recruiters. I would advise doing that, and most recruiters will not have any problem if you add the right recruiters. Don't add a recruiter for, I don't know, fashion design, and you're not in the industry. Add the right type of recruiter, obviously. And I think LinkedIn is just generally good now for live streaming too. I've noticed, to get like a wider audience networking in that area.
I see us live in here right now.
Oh yeah. So LinkedIn group is the same problem with Facebook group. It's more spam than value most of the places, unless you have a good moderator and team who manages those groups, I suppose. Chris, what do you think? I don't think you are very active in LinkedIn.
I don't use LinkedIn other than to talk to recruiters, really. I don't really... I mean, I do go on LinkedIn sometimes, but I keep in contact with my professional relationships on LinkedIn, right? And people that I'm really interested in, I follow on Twitter and talk to on Twitter. Even though it's like kind of
once upon a time.
Yeah. Now Twitter's, but yeah, either way, like, but like my professional relationships, I try, like they're on LinkedIn, right? And I try and keep it that way. But again, I don't really filter anyone. Like I used to add people. If you're in the games industry, I used to add you to LinkedIn. I've never really had I don't know if there's a point in actually filtering who you add there. I mean, I won't add people that's just from other industries or whatever. But yeah, is there a point? Like, why wouldn't you just?
I mean, what's the strategy? Let's talk about that. What's the point of networking? What's the strategy behind it?
I mean, I imagine the gut reaction would be to get a job, right?
Okay.
But once you're in, then it's to maintain professional relationships in a way that benefits you in the future.
Yeah.
Okay, but okay, so this is where I'm very curious. Actually,
this is a good. Yeah, we're getting into the
Yeah,
dirt now.
yeah, because yeah.
This is yeah.
So if networking is to get the work and maintaining it, where does, because there's also personal networking, which is just happens naturally, and the go-to argument is, oh, you get work through friends, or you get recommended from friends. So what is more important? And if friends are the ones getting you the job to begin with, should you be hanging out and making friends? Is that the go-to networking, or is it staying in touch with people who consider you as colleagues? And how do you know the difference? Because I freaking don't know the difference all the time. Like, are we colleagues? Are we friends? What's the difference? So how do you deal with that? Is it smarter to network like on a fun idea, like hanging on DiNusty and Empire and Lightning Bot, just having a good time and building genuine friendship relationship and then see what happens? Or is it smarter to go very logical? Hey, I'm talking to you because I am looking for work. Can you help me? What do you think?
I mean, you should be doing both of those, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I don't separate.
I don't separate them.
Yeah, I really don't separate them in that way. I think
the friendship ones are higher value, though, for sure.
Yeah, if I were to look out, or if I were to, or wanted to find a new job anywhere elsewhere, I would just probably ask in Discord, or like even on Twitter, and be like, "I'm looking for work." But I'm also like, these things are weird because I've been in the industry for so long. I don't really have any problem finding work most of the time.
Exactly. So
it's very hard to talk about. Yeah. Networking for me now is just to keep in touch with people, like-minded people. I like surrounding myself with hardworking people. So like in networking for me, even back in the day when I wasn't experienced, was to surround myself or be in an environment which is just feeding itself. Like my friends are working hard, I'm working hard, we're feedbacking each other or something, and then you're living in that space, and everybody's just getting better. That's kind of why you want to reach out and contact people and stuff. If you're lurking, you're missing out on an opportunity to put yourself in that environment, right? It's very hard as a game artist or a game developer to find or have people close to you sometimes that are in that mindset that you are in. You're in the trenches. You're trying to make something out of your ambition. So you need to surround yourself. But if you're just lurking, you're missing out on that. Some people get that from school, right? Like where they have that happen at school. Not everybody goes to school or can pay for school, right? So putting yourself in these communities is a very good thing. And I'm like waving my hands around.
Yeah, it's the first way out of a bubble, right? So the first bubble is your own. And then the next one is like the people around you. And then being able to connect those people outside of that. It allows you to go from community to community.
Yeah, I guess so. Like whenever I connect to people these days with my current experience and stuff, it's because I'm interested in them as people and what they do. And in the future, I just want to be in a specific circle. Like right now, I'm making an indie horror game on the side, hobby. So I'm like connecting to people in the same scene so I can like surround myself with that, right? Because that's what I want to do right now, and I want to be in touch with all these people and indie devs, so that's kind of what I'm doing.
Okay. A couple of comments then. to include people. Filippo is saying, in my experience, posting on Facebook brings thousands of likes, but no real opportunities. On the opposite side of the spectrum, LinkedIn gets you few reactions for actual job offers or clients. So in Filippo's case, intention is to get work, get noticed, and so on. In Paul's case, I think you can network by embedding effort into your work too, because you naturally start getting people to look at what you're doing. So this is kind of what we are, I guess, what Chris is specifically doing, and you are doing on your streams. You're kind of working on things, and that's a good way of networking. People get to see your skills, they ask questions, you learn, and that's also what networking is by definition: is sharing, is connecting with people who share interest with, and you have a mutual exchange of knowledge. Is kind of the gist of what networking really is. Paul is saying, I don't think you have to talk a lot. You can talk all day and say nothing.
Thanks. This podcast has been going on for quite a long time.
Rex, I found with Discord, you find yourself generating to people's orbits, and if everyone is trying to improve, we all help each other. I think that's true as well. Nehal, yes, I think at least DiNusty and I will be doing one on the 30th or something, end of month or something. I think we talked about it today to do a portfolio review, but I'll get back to you once I've confirmed it. And maybe Chris can join too if he wants to. And yeah, it is on the schedule to do a portfolio review. Thanks for asking. Let's see. Most games are not super approachable, honestly. I think so too. I think a lot of artsy people are approachable and they just want to have fun, really. So Philip is saying, I've added lots of professionals I admire on LinkedIn, and an introduction message works wonder. Most of the time people are super open. I got some real great feedback. Kindness and humbleness go a long way, he says afterwards.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Mary is saying, I actually never thought about doing networking. All I did was talk a little bit for people in DiNusty Empire and Experience Points. And Paul, obviously being a mentor himself, something I also say to my students is not to be put off if someone doesn't respond. People are busy. Sometimes people I also show gratitude where you receive a response.
It happens more often than you think as well, because like even though we are active, right, in the community and we're willing to help other people, apart from that, we have our own lives, right? And you might be in a phase in your life where you might not feel so good, right? And then you're still getting bombarded by all these outside messages asking for help or recruiters or whatever. So sometimes you shut off. You don't think about other stuff because you have to deal with your actual life that's happening, right? And it doesn't mean that you're trying to be mean to people. It's just like it's very hard to just sometimes deal with that stuff. There's nothing wrong in asking again, though, a week after.
It's
usually I get the one message, and if I don't answer back, never hear from them again. I would say wait a week, send another message. Be humble, but you can do that for sure. Because like the person like me, I would never be reminded of that message after a week, right? Like it's
people
because you've got
it's the chat. It just gets
constantly.
scrolled. Yeah, it's gone, right? Like so, but it's fine if you poke again. And I would say do that if you're not getting it, but don't poke like every day. Just wait, and then don't come to like, because I've had people like, oh, I'm on the like last day of my dissertation or whatever. And I'm going to do it tonight. So I'm going to ask you now about all these things. And I'm like, I don't have time to, like, you have to, like, if you're having, like a report you have to write, spend your time wisely and ask people way before you have to turn it in.
I've had a few of those. I usually ask like, when is it due? That's the first thing I usually, when is it due? Because it might take me a bit to give you a real answer.
Yeah, exactly. Neon Fraction, thanks for watching. He or she is saying, I love getting LinkedIn message for we met at X and I didn't actually end up attending X.
Yeah, I've had that.
That's
it's
awesome.
Weird.
What?
That's awesome.
I had that just this week, and it's just like, I know you. I'm like, I have no idea who you are, and you're not in my industry even, so I don't even.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's weird.
That is funny, and there is actually a good technique. I learned it from a book about successful CEOs and how they keep track of it, and they do networking. And I don't remember which company it was and which CEO, but it's a big one. I think it was maybe the shaving company one for men or something. And one of the CEOs, what they do in networking. They would take the business cards, they would write a note, like an important birthday or favorite chocolate and the birthday, and then they would actually send it down on birthdays. They would send down what they learned during the networking event a year ago or 6 months ago, and kind of remind people, hey, thanks you, I saw you this day. Here's this. So that really resonates with people because they're like, oh, not only did you remember my name, which is also very important when it comes to networking, is remembering name is the number one thing. If you really want people to remember you, remember their name and mention their name when you see them. People go crazy for that.
I'm terrible at that.
So you gotta improve that, man. Very important. A second thing I've started doing when I'm networking is take a selfie with the people. And then afterwards, if I added them on Instagram, I'll send them a picture the day afterwards. Great meeting you, had a good time. What happens is they're going to remember you, and when they look at the messaging in the future again, they can always connect back to that moment in time and go, okay, that's where this person was from. Makes sense? So there's like a tips and tricks on how I have evolved my networking on digital.
But that's like face-to-face networking as well.
Yeah, I mean, I can do it now. Don't worry. I'll take a selfie of us on stream now, and I'll send it to you.
And the picture is literally Chris and I, like.
No, but like networking apart from Discord and LinkedIn and stuff, right? Like you have all the GameDev meetups as well in different areas of the world. I would definitely go to those.
Yeah, those
try and meet up with people
here.
that you've met online or something. I think that's very useful. Because what was it, like latest one I went to, like here in Malmo, I introduced my online friends to like the studio manager of IO, for example. Like, yeah, look here I know these people, you know. Say hi, you know, and it's kind of fun situation to be, you know, to do that type of stuff. So I would
You're
definitely
the connector now, Chris.
I am not the connector.
No?
But no, not really. But it is fun to do that type of stuff.
I mean, in terms of physical meetup, the DiNusty Empire has a meetup on the 11th August to 13th August. Is it in Sweden somewhere?
Yeah, it'll be in Malmo, Sweden, and then Copenhagen as well.
Yeah.
So go to
There's
Empire. Is it empirecmd.com? Do you have to type the whole link, or is it just part of it?
I can give it to you in chat here.
Yeah. So
So
he has a meetup that if anyone is nearby or want to spend money to go down there and meet up, it's a good opportunity to network and also meet probably Chris and Jeremy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's Alex Beddoes is planning on coming. Emmett, you're gonna come, right?
Yeah, I'm taking donations. So if anyone wants to donate my trip, please click the link on both sides.
GoFundMe. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
there you go.
So that's the key things with networking. But I do network in physical form a lot, in person. But that's also because I do like business networking for like how do you do business, how you do marketing, and a lot of the people that I meet there is just not even related to what I do, obviously. But I had meetup like. One of the person I met like half a year ago, another person I met a year ago, they come to London, they say, hey, you want to meet up, catch up. And what happens is when you're, I guess it's similar to what Chris is saying, is when you are with people who are, in my case, entrepreneur and they're like hardworking, they are looking for other people also who are entrepreneur, hardworking to get their motivation. And this person I was talking to was saying kind of what Chris indirectly was saying is all the friends don't understand what they're doing or why they're doing it. So they don't have the constant energy and motivation to like strive all the time because they're just doing the thing. They're living life in a normal way, which is fine. So she came all this way, and he also came all this way just to get that energy of, let's talk about this. That's what's going on. This is what I'm doing. What do you think? And I think that's where networking is really important for me, but also when you network with people in person, in my case, which have no connection to what you do. So I do that kind of networking too. So when I have a conversation with someone else somewhere else, I can go, I have a contact that can take you to this person. I can recommend you to this person. And that's kind of how you create value for someone who has nothing to do with you or your industry, but you are then kind of building genuine friendship in the process because of that, because there is really no benefit in the short term that you can think of anyway in doing that. And that's what I do a lot as well now with lighting artists. Recruiters come to me, they ask for recommendation, they ask, do you recommend this person, do you have a list of people? And I always have a list of people. So that's networking also, and that's how people are leveraging each other. So do you, either of you, do any that kind of networking where it's kind of about providing more useful resources and values to other people?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think you had told me that you built a list of people around the time we had first started chatting. And I was like, I kind of have something like that, but it's not organized in any way. And so I started organizing it. And now I have quite an Excel sheet of, or a Notion sheet, I should say, of people that I can just link to. So when I get like approached by recruiters on LinkedIn, for example, when I deny or say, oh, sorry, no, I'm happy where I'm at right now, but thank you for reaching out, especially if it's a place that I'm like, dang, this is crazy, that this company is reaching out to me. I'm letting them know like how cool that is to me. Like that's a big deal, even though I'm saying no. And I usually end our conversations with linking or starting to talk about, like, if you are looking for other people for these types of roles, or if you have other roles, let me know, because I've got a list of people that I feel like are ready or are in positions where they're ready to move on to something like you guys. So, and that tends to work quite well, actually.
Yeah, I always come to like whenever I'm hiring, whatever. Like I always go to the DiNusty Empire and I check there first, right? So my issue is generally I don't want to go to LinkedIn and go like, who is available from thousands of people, To me, it's more valuable to go into a not closed off, but a smaller community like DiNusty Empire, right? And then them having a list of people who are looking for work, because then I can go, because it's a community that fosters and trains professional artists or to become professional artists, right? So to me, it's more valuable to have that, right? I don't really care of having a list, of people and where they work, because that's already usually in their name tag where they work and if they're professionals, right? What I do care about is people looking for work and, and their portfolios and keeping that up to date. I would say that's super valuable because,
Okay. So what is something we shouldn't do then? If you were to give some advice on what not to do, which would ruin your networking chances? Is there anything either of you have experienced that's like a huge turnoff, or just, no, I don't talk to this person, or no, I'd never want to talk to this person, or I'm going to blacklist this person?
I have a few in my blacklist.
Okay.
I actually have a blacklist of my own.
So how do people avoid getting on your blacklist?
Well, you have to adore me. So
and also, I also want to point out how racist these names are. Blacklist. Why is blacklist negative and whitelist positive?
It is. Yeah, I never really thought about.
Oh man, I didn't even think about the. Okay,
but let's
the
list. Get into that though.
We put people on the list.
The list though, the block list.
Jesus Christ!
I don't even know if that's better.
I mean, it's
recover.
No, like it's like people that have. It's people that have been incredibly mean to other people, trolling or talking shit on any social media platform. That are also public with who they are, and I write that down for myself, so I don't end up in a situation hiring this person, because maybe their portfolio is awesome, and then 2 years I forget how crap of a person this is.
But
So
okay,
I tend,
but here's the scenario though. 2 years passed and they improved.
that would have to do a lot, man. I think you shouldn't be bad in the first place. In that
It
sense.
takes.
Like,
I would imagine it takes quite a bit for that person to be on your list, Chris.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people like they have arguments, so they believe different things, but yeah, it does take a lot to actually end up on my list. But yeah, I do have some people, and it's just a text file in my Dropbox. Be like, this person,
Super
man.
secure. Super secure.
Oh, never. Yeah.
So your advice is general behavior, but that's the thing with behavior, and that's what I don't like with social media and Discord is a lot of people are afraid to be themselves and just have a conversation that's probably harmless, but there's always going to be someone who doesn't like what you say, and therefore people are very careful. And that's what I don't like with a lot of places is there's a lot of cancel culture for whatever reason, whatever topic really, and it's like, oh, art is subjective. No, art is not subjective. People are like talking weird stuff about that as well sometimes, or AI. People are very sensitive about that as well, and people are like, oh, don't want to work with this person, or don't want to be this person's friend. I've literally seen people on Facebook and Twitter unfriend people who are like doing AI stuff or interested in AI, just to give a very recent example. And that to me is a bit, come on, that doesn't define a person, so why would you do that? So that it comes to a point where it's a bit too, for me, a bit too yeah, I don't know, immature.
I mean, if we talk about the Empire, like we've banned people. We have like a list of people that have been banned, but when you ban someone from the server, it's mainly for the way that they're treating people.
Yeah,
that's the main reason, right? And for me, that should not go outside of the Discord, like unless that person is starting to cause problems like all over the place outside of the Discord. It's like, oh my gosh, who is this person? But it is extremely difficult to get on my list, and my list is very short. It's extremely short.
But I can tell you though, like there is definitely like an underground, like no, but like if you're trying to get hired, right, at a company, right, and the recruiter, or maybe you're gonna have an interview with the lead or whatever, if people ask around, do you know this person? Is there something I need to know about this person? It happens. So in general, you kind of just want to be careful. It's still like a professional setting, even though you're just on Discord on your personal account or whatever. It's still full of professionals. You do want to kind of tread carefully.
Yeah, don't come to my Discord.
Yeah, no, but like, yeah, I mean, it is. I feel like people should be able to be themselves, right? But you still have to be kind of careful. Like,
be yourself, but be respectful of
don't be insensitive, or like even if you are, because I'm like growing up in Sweden. Obviously, I'm not like as educated in other areas of the world. I can say some stuff that is just plain not right. And then if you're being insensitive and people call you out on it, then do the right thing and say you're sorry. And it is fine to. It's fine to be wrong, or be educated by other people, that might know better. Like, so.
Hey, final question, more or less, or final comment. I'm
terrified.
I guess we're gonna skip the last comment, which was just for safety reasons. So yeah, I think we've passed the 1 hour mark. I think we had a good conversation. We covered a lot. As usual, if anyone who's watching, please like, please subscribe. Stop being a lurker. Don't like it at all. Make some contribution.
Dude, you can lurk. It's fine. Oh my God.
Just kidding. And yeah, please leave us a comment on what topic you would like next time, as it gives us a reason to kind of provide value to you, so we don't just guess what you need. So as usual, thank you so much, and we will be seeing you very soon, which is about a month's time. And we'll have some other streams coming up this week as well. Next week, there's a couple of other streams. There's a lighting panel stream. There's probably going to be a portfolio stream, and maybe an interview stream again. But we'll see. Thank you again, and have a great day. And I'll say bye.